This is an embarrassment to our country. We were getting ready to win this election. Frankly, we did win this election. We did win this election.
He's like as close as he can possibly be.
So our goal now is to ensure the integrity for the good of this nation. This is a very big moment. This is a major fraud in our nation. We want the law to be used in a proper manner. So we'll be going to the U.S. Supreme Court. We want all voting to stop.
Oh, he's calling it. This is the worst case scenario. This is the absolute worst case scenario.
It's a very sad moment. To me, this is a very sad moment, and we will win this. And as far as I'm concerned, we already have won it. So
this is the absolute worst case scenario outcome for this election.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Please sit. Thank you. This is without question the latest news conference I've ever had. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it very much. And I want to thank the American people for their tremendous support. Millions and millions of people voted for us tonight. And a very sad group of people is trying to disenfranchise that group of people. And we won't stand for it. We will not stand for it. I want to thank the First Lady, my entire family, and Vice President Pence, Mrs. Pence, for being with us all through this. And we were getting ready for a big celebration. We were winning everything, and all of a sudden it was just called off. The results tonight have been phenomenal, and we are getting ready. I mean, literally, we were just all set to get outside and just celebrate something that was so beautiful, so good, such a vote, such a success. The citizens of this country have come out in record numbers. This is a record.
He's not doing it, Dan.
There's never been anything like it. To support our incredible movement, we won states that we weren't expected to win. Florida, we didn't win it. We won it by a lot. And we won the great state of Ohio. We won Texas. We won Texas. We won Texas by 700,000 votes, and they don't even include it in the tabulations. It's also clear that we have won Georgia.
Georgia's very, very close, leaning towards Biden right now.
2.5% or 117,000 votes with only 7% left. They're never going to catch us. They can't catch us. Likewise, we've clearly won North Carolina.
North Carolina, I think so, unless there's some crazy mail-in shenanigans.
1.4% or 77,000 votes with only approximately 5% left. They can't catch us. We also, if you look and you see, Arizona, we have a lot of life in that. And somebody declared that it was a victory for, and maybe it will be. I mean, that's possible. But certainly there were a lot of votes out there that we could get, because we're now just coming into what they call Trump territory. I don't know what you call it, but these were friendly Trump voters. And that could be overturned. The gentleman that called it, I watched tonight, he said, well, we think it's fairly unlikely that he could catch. Well, fairly unlikely. And we don't even need it. We don't need that. That was just a state that if we would have gotten it, it would have been nice, Arizona. But there's a possibility, maybe even a good possibility. In fact, since I saw that originally, it's been changed, and the numbers have substantially come down just in a small amount of votes.
Arizona is 80% reporting. They're like a 6-point loss.
But
probably not going to flip the Trump.
We're winning
Probably
Pennsylvania
not.
by a tremendous amount of votes.
Pennsylvania has 2 million outstanding mail-ins to be counted.
up 600. Think of this. Think of this. Think of this. We're up 690,000 votes in Pennsylvania. 690.
Oh, he's setting the stage.
These aren't even close. It's not like, oh, it's close.
Setting the stage to maybe call it. Maybe.
64%
Will he?
of the vote in, it's going to be almost impossible to catch. And we're coming into good Pennsylvania areas where they happen to like your president. I mean, it's like very good. So we'll probably expand that. We're winning Michigan, but I'll tell you, I looked at the numbers. I said, whoa. I said, wow, that's a lot. By almost 300,000 votes.
Wait, Dan.
And
Does calling it
65% of the
include
vote is
stopping
in.
the vote? That's the real question.
And we're winning Wisconsin.
We should have clarified this.
So we're winning. We don't need all of them. We need.
I don't think he's going to call it. I don't even think he's
Texas,
going
which
to, not even, not stopping the vote. I don't think he's going to
Spoke
call
with
it. I think he would have already. I don't think he's doing
really
it.
wonderful governor of Texas just a little while ago, and Greg Abbott, he said, congratulations. He called me to congratulate me on winning Texas. I mean, we won Texas. I don't think they finished quite the tabulation, but there's no way. And it was almost complete, but he congratulated me. Then he said, by the way, what's going on? I've never seen anything like this. Can I tell you what? Nobody has. So we won by 107,000 votes with 81% of the vote. That's Michigan. So when you take those three states in particular, and you take all of the others, I mean, we have so many. We had such a big night. You just take a look at all of the states that we've won tonight, and then you take a look at the kind of margins that we've won them by, and all of a sudden, it's not like we're up 12 votes and we have 60% left. We won states, and all of a sudden, I said, what happened to the election? It's off. And we have all these announcers saying, what happened? And then they said, oh, because you know what happened? They knew they couldn't win, so they said, let's go to court. And did I predict this, Newt? Did I say this? I've been saying this from the day I heard they were going to send out tens of millions of ballots. I said exactly, because either they were going to win, or if they didn't win, they'll take us to court. So Florida was a tremendous victory, 377,000. Texas, as we said. Ohio, think of this. Ohio, a tremendous state, a big state. I love Ohio. We won by 8.1%, 461,000. Think of it. Almost 500,000 votes. North Carolina, big victory with North Carolina. And so we won there. We lead by 76,000 votes with almost nothing left. And all of a sudden, everything just stopped. This is a fraud on the American public. This is an embarrassment to our country. We were getting ready to win this election. Frankly, we did win this election. We did win this election.
Oh, shit. He's like as close as he can possibly be.
So our goal now is to ensure the integrity for the good of this nation. This is a very big moment. This is a major fraud in our nation. We want the law to be used in a proper manner. So we'll be going to the U.S. Supreme Court. We want all voting to stop.
Oh, he's calling it. This is the worst case scenario. This is the absolute worst case scenario.
It's a very sad moment. To me, this is a very sad moment, and we will win this. And as far as I'm concerned, we already have won it. So
this is the absolute worst case scenario outcome for this election.
I want to thank all of our support. I want to thank all of the people that worked with us, and Mr. Vice President.
No.
I wonder if he's actually. I wonder if this is like a tweet where, like, maybe because this is the literal worst case scenario.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to join you.
Explain why. I'll do it after.
60 million Americans who have already cast their vote for 4 more years for President Donald Trump in the White House. And while the votes continue to be counted, we're going to remain vigilant, as the president said.
Well,
The right to vote has been at the center
wait,
of our
what does this
democracy
mean?
since the
Is Pence
founding of this
walking it
nation.
back?
We're gonna
Wait,
protect
what?
The integrity of the vote. But I really believe with all of my heart, with the extraordinary margins, Mr. President, that you've inspired in the states that you just described, and the way that you launched this movement across the country to make America great again, I truly do believe, as you do, that we are on the road to victory and we will make America
Wait,
great
hold on.
again,
Road to
again.
victory. Wait, hold on. What? Pence just completely and totally. Wait, what? Wait, what did I just watch?
Democracy dying.
So Trump. So wait. So Trump called it. Trump was like, "We're going to the Supreme Court," and then Pence is like, "So all the votes are going to be counted. We're on the road to victory."
And
What
Pence
just?
is thinking about his career a little bit. Here.
No, but well, they must have talked before coming out.
So here's the thing to know: if you currently, right now, throw in to the 538, pick your battleground things. If you just do states that are done, it's 99% for Joe Biden. Right now, as of right now, it's supposed to be 99%. If you plug in,
He said he's taking it to Supreme Court. What does that mean?
The Supreme
And
Court
that's
means that what
leading-
they. So this is okay. So to explain for people that are listening at home, okay. So this right here, what I talked about in the beginning, is the worst case scenario. So the best case, if you like Biden, is that Biden wins. The second best case is if you like Biden, then Trump wins. The worst case scenario would be there's enough votes on election night and the Republicans feel like they have a wide enough lead that Trump says we're calling it now and we're not counting any more votes, even if there is a massive number of outstanding mail-in ballots that could change the election and they don't want to count them. So the worst case scenario right now is Trump goes to the Supreme Court and says, hey, we want to kind of call the election and stop the vote, and then they stop all of those mail-in votes from being counted, which massively favor Democrats.
But there's 2 million votes,
it'll go
PA.
by. I don't think it can pass. Even the Supreme Court.
I don't think the Supreme Court.
There,
even a
there's no
6-3
way, because
conservative court, there's no way the Supreme Court would allow that to stand. I can't believe that. There's no way.
No, I don't think so.
There's no possible way.
So what is he saying he's going to go to the Supreme Court for?
The goal would be to go to the Supreme Court and stop the count. Is literally saying.
He didn't say that. He said it's fraud.
Well, because
And
because how he presents it to the people is that we voted and it's over and we won, and now they're inventing ballots. Now they're pulling ballots out of nowhere. Now they're trying to rig the vote, basically to Republicans. So the classic Republican card is that if the vote favors the Democrats, then those votes aren't real. That's how they view it. So absentee ballot voting, mail-in ballot voting, those are all fake votes because they're not real. Early voting or fake votes. The only votes Republicans care about are the ones that favor them. So their goal is to make it so that all the mail-in stuff and the absentee stuff doesn't count because it's fraud, is what they're trying to say, basically. He's trying to stop the count. Yeah.
If the tables were turned, like right now, Democrats are winning. There's millions of votes that aren't, counted yet in states he thinks he's going to win.
I mean, I would hope. It's obviously it's hard to say, but I would hope that Democrats would say we should let all the votes be counted. I mean, but
I would assume that.
The reason why it's hard to say is because generally, the more people that vote, it usually favors Democrats, and the less people that vote, it usually favors Republicans. So it's the prerogative of the Republican Party to try to stop as much voting as possible, and it's the prerogative of the Democrat Party to try to increase the vote as much as possible. I mean, if the tables were turned on who it would favor, maybe people would be a little bit different. I know for a fact Republicans would love to get the vote out more if it would help them. I don't know if Democrats would try to suppress the vote more if it would help them. It's hard to say. I mean, I'd like to think they wouldn't, but...
Even Ben Shapiro's sitting here tweeting, no, Trump has not already won the election. It is deeply irresponsible for him to say what he has.
Because all of us were like standing at the edge, and then Trump came out and said that, and then we started to fall off the edge, and Pence like ran forward and grabbed us by like the collar of our fucking shirts. Because Trump basically said, like, it's done. Like, Daddy Fascist Trump is taking over the election, and fuck you. And then Pence is like, well, what he really means is we're on the road. We're on the road to taking the election into our own hands. And so they just gave like two completely and totally contradictory messages here. Trump and Pence just said the total opposite things. I have no idea why or what the fuck the plan was coming out here or what. I don't know.
Did that seem like a prepared speech to you? He looked at his notes for...
I don't. I think he probably had some notes.
He had some notes for like what
as
states
fuck.
were doing what. Like what states were doing what. I agree with Dan. I think
He probably had like a rough outline of what he was going to say.
Yeah. So do you think that because he just appointed 2 people to the court, does that mean he has a higher chance of this actually getting?
So a lot of people
this
point to
actually going
that.
through?
A lot of Democrats think that with a conservative majority court, the Supreme Court is literally going to rule that it's legal to fucking kill all black people, some crazy shit. The reality is even with a conservative majority Supreme Court, I would be shocked if they actually let this stand. It would be totally unprecedented and unimaginably crazy that the Supreme Court would let the count stop right now. I don't think so. Even with ACB on the court, there's no way.
To be like literalists, essentially reading the Constitution as narrowly as they can, and like narrowly gives Democrats what they need here, basically.
Repeat
Okay.
the example. Repeat the example.
Hold on one
you
second.
gave.
Or sorry, real quick. For people saying Bush v. Gore has nothing to do with this. It is absolutely not
fact.
even remotely related to what we're talking about right now. This is totally fucking unprecedented. The Bush v. Gore is farther away from this than the fucking planet Saturn is from like your strategy in Among Us. There's nothing even close to related. Sorry. Okay. What?
Nothing. I was gonna say repeat the example. You gave.
Those things have nothing in common.
People
Destiny.
misunderstood.
That was his point.
Oh,
Yeah.
Explain it for the audience, but essentially in Bush v. Gore, okay.
On Bush v. Gore, they were up to like
Go
their
ahead.
4th recount in terms of like counting over and over and over again because the Democrats thought they could turn it into a majority there. And I think the Supreme Court stopped like the 4th recount. This would be the Supreme Court of the United States basically saying no more counting votes that have already been cast that haven't even been counted a single time. It would be insanity to do that. You would be disenfranchising potentially tens of millions of voters by doing this. Like, it would be insane to do that. It would be unbelievable for the Supreme Court to do that.
Okay, so then let's say that the Supreme Court does shoot it down. Doesn't Trump just say this election is a fucking fraud? The Supreme
Yeah, but
Court is
there
whatever.
was no way ever that Trump was ever going to come out of this night saying, you know what, we gave it our best and we lost. It was always going to be a fraud and stolen from him.
So the big
Well,
stop
fuck.
right now possibly might have been Fox calling Arizona, because Fox calling Arizona for the Democrats kind of put a huge roadblock up, because like it gave this a solid fucking lead to Biden, and it made things look a lot less clear than if Arizona would have still been hanging up in the air, because I think a lot of people would just assume hearing that Arizona is going to go red, and I think Trump could have made that statement a lot more confidently, but calling that state I think makes it way harder for Trump to just walk out and be like, fuck you guys. Like,
He literally said this is fraud on the American people.
yeah,
and we will seek
that's
justice.
in line with the rhetoric that he's been giving over and over and over again. But Pence never.
Okay, but what I'm worried about is like isn't a huge group of, so he loses in the Supreme Court, huge group of people goes, yeah, fuck, and then like just fucking burns shit down. Like,
The thing
Also,
is
we didn't-
that as much as
Yeah.
it seems impossible to believe it, for some reason, through all of this shit, the American institutions still seem to stand fairly strong. It's so far we're still here, surprisingly, and they seem to be working to some extent. So if the Supreme Court denies him, I have a hard time believing that like the military is going to back the president and like have a coup
that's
and fucking.
true.
I don't think that's going to
Yeah.
happen. Yeah.
I'm not even sure the Supreme Court doesn't have to even hear the case.
Like the Supreme Court, yeah, somebody makes up a good point. I think the Supreme Court already came out of like hibernation to give like a ruling on the Pennsylvania absentee ballots, that they were like, yeah, you guys can. It would be crazy if the Supreme Court allowed longer deadlines for Pennsylvania and North Carolina, and then came out and did a ruling and said, actually, we're not going to count those votes. It would be
Yeah.
hard to
There's
believe.
no way. That's
I agree that the conservative judges are still going to stick to they're not going to go the Trump way. But why would Trump for months build on this premise that mail-in voting is wrong and stuff, if not to use the scapegoat, no matter what? If the Supreme Court doesn't go his way, he's guaranteed going to say it's corrupt.
Stop. Listen, it can't,
Guaranteed.
nothing works no matter what, okay? The reason why you plant these seeds in the minds of people is because you want to be able to get in there if it's close and bring it to your side. But it's not going to be like a no matter what, right? Like, we put on seatbelts to stay safe in car accidents. That doesn't mean we can drive 95 miles an hour off a fucking mountain and crash in the street, right? That's why people were looking for this election. They wanted a win in like Florida or Texas, because if they could get a big win for Biden, then there's no way Trump is done. The election is called right now. If this election is really close, or it looks like there's tens of millions of outstanding votes that could theoretically push towards Biden, like, I still think it's too far away. It has to be a lot closer than this for Trump to just close it and be like, fucking walk away.
This doesn't make sense. His base, who fucking dick ride the Constitution so hard, wouldn't they be like, what the fuck is this?
The Constitution has nothing to do with Trump. Absolutely not. But Trump has his base, but you have to keep in mind that there's the whole other side of the country, and then you've got like non-party affiliated voters and independents as well.
Do you guys
So
see the
I
video?
actually think that so he secured
Yeah.
even his loss and his win. He
Well, yeah,
definitely
but the
gonna-
Republicans have been doing this since the beginning, of course. where they're like
No,
talking.
you've never heard this?
Yes, they've
I've
been
never heard
what
a
the
president-
Republicans are talking about for months. No, I'm sorry. When I say the very beginning, as soon as we started talking about absentee or mail-in ballots, because people know that those favor Democrats, the Republicans have been constantly talking about how
Is that Asman?
this is voter fraud,
Yeah,
this is going to be
Asman's-
horrible,
Asman.
blah blah blah.
I just wanted to come in and say I told you so before I go to bed.
What
I
did you
told you
tell
he's
us?
going to come in and say he's going to win.
Oh
Yeah,
you
but
did
Pence
say-
walked it back, so yeah, we're not
I
sure.
said
I saw the tweet.
Yep. Here's how you can predict things in American politics.
If it's
Think
more
of the
crazy,
dumbest thing that can happen, and then wait for that to happen. I'll
Nice.
see you guys later. I gotta go to bed.
Love you,
brother.
man. See you
Night.
soon.
I have a take from someone who I'm not going to name, who may or not be having a Trump party right now. Here is the initial defense. It says he misspoke, said stop the voting. He should have stuck to the teleprompters, but he just can't do it.
He missed.
That is the most bad faith argument I've ever heard in my life. What the fuck?
Well,
This
that's,
whole misspoke. How the fuck?
unfortunate.
I feel like he had talking points, right? And then people are like, "Yo, do not say that," right? Just like stick
Yeah,
to
exactly.
this. No, joke. I think like don't say that. Just stick to the normal stuff. And he went up there. I think he froze because like it didn't sound good. He just decided to go with what he like, the way he thinks he can win people over, not realizing the
Yeah.
effect, right? Like, I don't think. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, I think he folded to his. I don't think he was actually prepared.
You know what? Train is funny because he was doing the teleprompter and he like, I remember he reached into his jacket, he pulled out that paper, and I bet everyone's like, "No, don't use the fucking paper, no, like, don't do it," and he just fucking, boom.
if regardless of, just for the record, regardless of who you're polling for, if you're polling for Biden, if you're polling for Trump, like, we should be unified in wanting all of the votes to be counted. If you have friends, okay, and they're for Trump, okay, I think they're fucking stupid, but if you want to be for Trump, that's fine. Regardless of who you're for, if you have people that are saying that we shouldn't count mail-in ballots or that we shouldn't count absentee votes, you were talking about disenfranchising a vast amount of people. Like, I think in Pennsylvania, we have like 5 million votes counted, a little over 5 million votes counted, with 2 million outstanding mail-in votes. The idea that you would just want to take those votes away from like fellow Americans, that should trouble you, regardless of who you're for. It is possible, by the way, it's possible, I don't know how likely it is, but it is possible that all of these mail-in votes are counted and all of the mail-in votes are tabulated and everything is added up and Trump could still win these states. It's possible. It is possible that all of this voting could finish and Trump could still win. Maybe he'll even win the popular vote. It's very unlikely, right? It's possible. Every single person should have a vested interest in having all of these votes counted, regardless of your party affiliation. And it should be deeply troubling to you for people saying that we ought to stop the count. It's very, very, very fucking weird. Especially if you're somebody that jumped on like the OAS report for fucking Bolivia and you're talking about election fraud in other countries, blah, 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 blah. If you're trying to stop the count now, that's some fucked up shit, okay? Check that shit. It's called the US flag, you stupid fuck. This is the only flag that the United States federally has and recognizes. Why the fuck are you acting like a different